But it says, meanwhile, over in the kingdom of crumbling crowns, Disney's Snow White dropped like an enchanted apple.
What they really mean is they're describing a worldview that hates you, that hates everything America stands for.
Rachel Zegler just disappeared, and not by accident. One minute she's Disney's star, the next she's gone right after reports say they want $120 million back from her. No interviews, no posts, just silence. Now insiders are leaking chaos. Legal threats, canceled deals, and a movie about Minecraft dunking on Snow White at the box office. Something big is happening behind the scenes. And this mess is way deeper than anyone expected. If you've even glanced at Hollywood news this past year, you already know. Rachel Zegler's Snow White remake didn't just stir controversy, it ignited it.
Literally the only person there. And do you not understand how humiliating this is?
It all started when Disney announced Zegler as their new Snow White, an unexpected move that sparked instant backlash. Not just because she didn't look like the classic character, but because her early interviews poured gasoline on the fire. She mocked the original film, said the prince was weird, and claimed the story needed to be rewritten for modern times. And she didn't stop there. She doubled down, saying her version of Snow White won't dream about love and won't be saved by a man. Online, the reaction was brutal.
But you don't seemingly like your own character, so she comes off as an insufferable, whiny brat.
Saying that audiences will always line up to see her no matter what she does.
Every premiere and everything I do, people will wait in line to see.
Twitter went wild. Reddit lit up with memes. TikTok was relentless. Suddenly, Zegler wasn't just the face of the film. She became the face of everything fans hated about Disney's remake strategy. Then came the rumors. Troubled production, delays, internal conflicts. Some insiders said Disney was already panicking, worried they had a PR nightmare on their hands. Others claimed the studio tried to quietly limit her press exposure after early interviews tanked fan interest. But by then, it was too late.
What's interesting about all this is that the only person waiting in line to see Snow White was Rachel Zegler.
She doesn't need a prince to save her, and not surrounded by 7 weird people. Oh, okay, just CGI fictional goblins, I guess.
The damage was done. And instead of excitement for the film, all eyes were locked on Zegler, and not in a good way. And that's where the real chaos begins. Once the press tour kicked off, it wasn't a comeback. It was a collapse. Rachel Zegler didn't just stumble through interviews, she set them on fire. She rolled her eyes at the original story, cracked jokes about how creepy the prince was, and said the remake would be more about leadership than love. Now, on paper, that might sound like modernizing a fairy tale, but in reality, it came off smug, condescending, and completely out of touch with the fans who actually loved the original. Then came the quote.
Well, we all basically knew that Snow White was going to be a massive failure at the box office because of Rachel Zegler's controversial statement.
And if you disagree with this sentiment, I don't need your business. Thanks.
The one that went viral in every corner of the internet. Every hour I'm in the Snow White dress, I deserve to be paid. Fans were stunned. People asked, is she joking? Others weren't so kind. They called her ungrateful, arrogant, and completely disconnected from the role she was supposed to honor. TikTok roasted her. YouTubers had a field day. Comment sections turned into war zones. Every time she spoke, it got worse. It didn't help that her energy in interviews felt off, cold, dismissive.
You know, I don't need your business. You know what? Maybe Disney does. Maybe you're a tool, you're a pawn in this film. You didn't write it. You didn't direct it. You have nothing to do with the creation of Snow White. Right. You should shut up and do the job.
And that's when the memes took over. Suddenly, she was trending. Not because of excitement for the movie, but because people couldn't believe how bad the PR had gotten. She was no longer Snow White. She was the symbol of what happens when a press tour blows up in real time. But what no one expected was how fast Disney would go into damage control mode. Behind the scenes, Disney was spiraling. After Rachel's interviews went viral for all the wrong reasons.
I don't think they're gonna buy it. I don't think they're gonna watch it. I don't think they're gonna like it.
Warner Brothers' Minecraft movie versus Disney's Snow White, which in theory should be quite a battle, but it's not even a fair fight. And it's pretty hysterical actually to watch.
Insiders say the studio hit full panic mode. Executives started scrambling, trying to figure out if her comments had crossed a line, not just creatively, but legally. That's when the leaks started. Reports of internal meetings, studio lawyers combing through contracts, and whispers that Rachel may have violated a morality clause. The same kind that gives studios the right to pull bonuses, cancel deals, or even demand repayment if a star damages the brand. One source even claimed Disney discussed replacing her entirely in the final stages of marketing, but it was too late. The trailers were locked, the merch was out, the ship had already sailed. To make things worse, her press presence was suddenly scaled back. Appearances got canceled. Her social media went quiet. She vanished from Disney's own channels with zero explanation. It wasn't just PR panic. It looked like a silent purge. Then came the rumors that Disney flew an executive out personally to beg her to tone down the political posts, especially after she tweeted out "Free Palestine" within minutes of promoting the movie.
Zegler is a loudmouth dope.
Right, we're talking about ultra-far leftists, people who believe that men and women are a figment of your imagination, that your money is not your own, that your family is not your own, and that your country is not your own. That's what woke me.
With Gal Gadot, her Jewish co-star, standing right beside her. She refused to delete the post, and from that point on, insiders say the tone shifted. This wasn't just damage control, it was damage containment, and the worst was still ahead. Because right when Disney needed a miracle, Rachel vanished, completely. Then, she was gone. No warning, no press, no explanation, just silence. Right after reports surfaced that Disney was demanding she help cover the film's massive losses, Rachel Zegler vanished from the spotlight. No red carpet appearances, no social media posts, no brand promos, just nothing. And then came the twist. Multiple fan sightings, a flight log, a few now deleted posts, and boom, online detectives pieced it together. Rachel had left the country, fast. Her destination? Dubai. Now everyone's asking why. Her team says she's just taking a break, but no one's buying it. Not when her entire career is imploding in real time.
What would you say to those who are just kind of overly critiquing the film at this point? You've worked so hard on it.
Not when Disney reportedly held an emergency meeting about her just days earlier, and especially not when her entire schedule was suddenly wiped. No new interviews, no promo commitments, no digital footprint. Fans started joking she was in witness protection, but others weren't laughing, because the theory that she's dodging legal heat, it's starting to feel a little too real. One insider even claimed Disney hired a media consultant just to follow her around and make sure she didn't say anything else to sink the movie further. At this point, people weren't wondering when she'd return. They were wondering if she could. And right when everyone thought this saga couldn't get any more humiliating, a pixelated video game movie walked in and stole the entire show. While Rachel Zegler was laying low halfway across the world, something wild happened back home. A movie about literal blocks. Yeah, Minecraft came out of nowhere and annihilated Disney's Snow White at the box office. Critics laughed at it, said it was too childish, too simple, too pixelated to compete with a Disney legacy film.
Snow White, of course, famously played by the insufferable girl boss narcissist, who's just clinical at this point.
But audiences? They showed up in droves. Minecraft pulled in over $300 million globally in its opening weekend. Snow White struggled to even cross $77 million after weeks in theaters. Let that sink in. A video game movie with blocky characters and chickens made more in 2 days than Disney's billion-dollar IP did in nearly a month. Even worse, the energy in Minecraft screenings was off the charts. Teens in suits quoting lines, kids getting escorted out for being too hyped. It wasn't a movie. It was a full-blown cultural event. Meanwhile, Snow White showings were empty, quiet, embarrassing. And at the center of the Minecraft hype, Jack Black. The guy brought wild energy, laughs, and nostalgia. Basically everything Disney forgot to include in Snow White. It didn't matter that critics gave Minecraft a weak 40%. Audiences loved it, gave it an 87% and started flooding theaters. The message was loud and clear. People don't want lectures. They want fun. And Disney? They just got clowned by a movie that looks like it was made in Microsoft Paint. But the real humiliation? It was just getting started. After all the backlash, the disappearing act, and the Minecraft humiliation, Rachel Zegler finally broke her silence, sort of. Her team released a public apology, one that was supposed to calm the storm. But instead, it made things way worse. The tone? Robotic, cold, scripted within an inch of its life. It read like a legal memo, not a heartfelt statement. Fans picked it apart line by line, comparing it to old PR templates used in other celebrity scandals. No emotion, no ownership. no sense that Rachel actually got why people were upset. It felt corporate, like Disney handed her a crisis management PDF and said, "Here, read this, smile, move on," and fans weren't having it. Instead of softening the blow, the apology poured gasoline on the fire.
Now, there is no doubt about it that Snow White 2025 is considered by far one of the worst box office failures, not just with Disney, but also in the entire film history when it comes down to live-action remakes.
Comment sections exploded. People started reposting old clips, mocking the wording and flat out calling it fake. Even her defenders started to fall silent, because in that moment it didn't feel like a redemption arc, it felt like damage control gone wrong. And while the public was tearing apart every word, behind closed doors, things were unraveling even faster. Behind the PR mask, insiders say Rachel Zegler was falling apart. Sources close to the situation claim she broke down crying multiple times, completely overwhelmed by how fast everything turned against her. Just months earlier, she was supposed to be Disney's next big thing, the future face of the brand. She had spin-offs in development, major endorsements lined up, international campaigns ready to launch. People were calling her the next Disney princess to dominate Hollywood. Now, studios are reportedly labeling her a risky hire. Casting directors are backing away. Brand deals? Ghosted. Her team is fractured. Some are begging her to go bold, own the moment, fire back, do a redemption tour.
You can't tell me Minecraft is the worst movie of 2025 when Snow White exists. That's right.
When we look, you can see families were more than willing to go to the box office to support something like the Minecraft movie, while Rachel Zegler's Snow White continues to plunge.
But others? They're telling her to vanish, play the long game, lay low and let it blow over. But here's the problem. This doesn't feel like a bad press week. It feels like a total wipeout. Hollywood is brutal with optics. And right now, Zegler isn't just dealing with public backlash. She's being erased, quietly cut from promos, pushed out of headlines, ignored at best, avoided at worst. She went from center stage to industry cautionary tale. And some insiders believe her career may never fully recover, especially if legal action is still on the table. But as Rachel's team scrambles to pick up the pieces, Disney has its own crisis boiling over. While Rachel Zegler became the face of the fallout, Disney itself was cracking under pressure. Insiders say the blame game inside the studio turned into open warfare. The cast pointed fingers at the executives. The execs blamed the marketing team. The marketing team blamed Rachel. And nobody wanted to take responsibility for the billion-dollar blunder. And yes, Snow White was supposed to be a slam dunk, a safe, nostalgic revival of the very film that launched Disney's empire. Instead, it became a lesson in exactly what not to do. Behind closed doors, executives reportedly held emergency meetings to reconsider the entire live-action strategy. Some projects were suddenly put on hold, others quietly canceled. Even former Disney insiders are leaking whispers that Snow White might be the breaking point, the flop that forces the studio to rethink everything, from how they cast, to how they modernize stories, to whether go woke, go broke has officially become their reality. The financial losses alone are brutal. Reports suggest Disney could be out $250 to $300 million once all's said and done. But the real damage? It's the brand, the trust, the legacy. Fans are fed up, investors are getting nervous, and Disney, the studio that once felt untouchable, is fumbling the bag week after week. And Rachel? Whether it's fair or not, she's the one left holding the match while the castle burns. So here we are. Rachel Zegler, once hailed as the next Disney icon, is now in hiding, thousands of miles away, while the studio that launched her is unraveling at the seams. Snow White didn't just flop. It imploded, and what started as a bold remake turned into a full-blown Hollywood cautionary tale. Rachel's silence? It says more than any apology ever could. Because deep down, everyone knows this wasn't just about a bad interview or a botched press tour. This was about a studio ignoring its fans, a star who lost control of the narrative, and a billion-dollar legacy burned by its own arrogance. Meanwhile, Minecraft, a movie based on digital blocks, connected with more emotion, fun, and heart than Disney's most sacred fairy tale. And that contrast? It's brutal. One film brought families together, the other scolded them. One embraced its audience, the other dismissed them. And now, as Disney quietly distances itself from the actress they once pushed front and center, we're left with the question no one at the studio wants to answer. Can the magic ever come back? Or has the fairy tale ended for good? One thing's clear. This story isn't over. Not by a long shot. Drop your thoughts in the comments because this meltdown, it's got everyone talking. And if you want more wild Hollywood drama, jaw-dropping flops, and behind-the-scenes chaos they don't want you to see, go ahead and hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell. This ride's just getting started.